To be really straight up honest with you, personally, I think I like this design a lot more than this design, personally. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, personally. I'm just not a fan of this design. I'm just not a fan of baldness, you know?
As the intergalactic controversy goes along on the internet, we're
It's from Pirate Nation, interesting. I didn't know it was from Pirate Nation.
seeing the shill media standing for this game, saying it looks awesome, etc., while normal gamers are, of course, panning everything.
Bald
Now,
my
I was very
eyes.
interested in seeing this yesterday, as this image went viral and really illustrates the whole problem with the situation right here.
It's very interesting how Game Science, Square Enix, Shift Up, and Capcom are on the far left, and fucking Ubisoft, Bethesda, Naughty Dog, and BioWare are on the right. That's crazy.
Here, Western versus Eastern devs, and you can see there's a redesign of the character, and you could see the crazy mental ill haircut on the right, which is the Naughty Dog intergalactic character from the game, and then what you could
Is this AI? Is this what it is? Is AI? Question mark.
Make it look like to make it look pretty, and make it that simple. If you actually just wanted to have a nice protagonist there, and so it's said that obviously like Square Enix and Capcom Shift Up would be the ones that are doing the ones on the left, and BioWare, Ubisoft, Bethesda, etc. are the ones doing the ones on the right, and it is really a Western versus Eastern thing. It really is. But the Western game designers have more problems than just the design, and it is their focus on just the wrong things, which is being highlighted right now. I'm going to get into some things that Grum said about this that really hit the nail on the head, because we have a problem in gaming and game development where they don't care about the gameplay whatsoever. As much as they say they do in interviews and all that, you could see what their focus is just based on what the...
I heard noise at my turtle's tank, so I was like concerned. I was concerned she was trying to escape again. Better not be trying to escape.
have say, and it is very apparent where they have massive problems. So please hit the like and subscribe button as we talk about all things in pop culture. Really appreciate you for being there. We're getting so close to 50,000 subscribers, and thank you guys, thank you modern audiences for coming in and making this channel a success. Really appreciate you. I'm a science fiction author, and that's why I like to talk about things like this, which are science fiction topics.
Interesting.
Have a bunch of books out. I've got 20 books, 13 graphic novels for you to check out. And the easiest way to do so is to join my newsletter. You get three free books for starting. I give you a fantasy book, a science fiction book, and a superhero graphic novel. All three for free just for being there. This way I can connect with you guys and actually have you, and it helps in case this platform ever goes away, because we're a little too based for here, and I know that. So thank you. Sign up. It's in the description below. And thank you for the 7,000 people who have signed up already. I really appreciate you for being there. All right, so yes, this went mega viral, as it should. And there's a lot of stuff here. The East will be forced in line too. I have $10 trillion and don't care about profits. Stop being heterosexual now. Pretty good. How I felt seeing the trailer at the end of the Games Awards. This is a really good point here. Yes. Not a Square Enix and Capcom. There's a good point there. They probably still make beautiful faces, but they undeniably started censoring other things. Why have they cast Ironhead from Drunken Master as a protagonist? Well, the reason why is they want to subvert everything. Everything has to be done. These companies, and talking to an Ubisoft in Soft, they still believe. They're like true believers in this. This is their religion, you got to keep in mind. This wokeism, DEI. They think it's really the next evolution of humanity to
What the fuck? They think this is the next step of evolution of humanity? That's a pretty crazy thing to think about.
Transcend gender, which doesn't make sense because, as Kindergarten Cop told everybody back in the day, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. It should be that simple. But
yeah, of course it is. Like everyone was taught this, you know? Everybody was taught this. You know?
This is something that is settled science since the dawn of time, and yet they want to change things. And they want to change things because they want to glorify mental illness and of course, erode our entire social structure is really the entire purpose of this.
So I feel like it is. Yes, transcend. Yeah, I feel like it is a mental illness thing. I'm actually just thinking this is just complete illness, like an actual legit straight up mental illness thing, you know? Like, honestly, I don't think there's a single person that I've so far that I've even like not even my friends, right? They don't even think like this either. So that's the one thing that's always weird about it. Is that I always see these things, but I've never like interacted with them though.
So it's being done intentionally, and actually there's government funding pushing this stuff too, but I could get into that and rant in another video at you. So I want to talk about kind of like where all this really goes wrong and what the entire problem is with this. And so you see Dan Lowe here, and you can see he's a principal tech animator with Sony Santa Monica. He worked for Star Wars Squadrons, Star Wars, Ubisoft Montreal, of course, and he's a he/him, of course. And you could...
Yeah, he puts a he/him in his bio. Just like how Asmongo says, if you start putting pronouns in your bios, I just kind of don't listen to you sometimes, you know. That's just about it. Take their stuff as a grain of salt.
You could look at the trailer here as he's like bragging about this. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I see you, Naughty Dog, just casually dropping a little jacket put on there like it's no big deal. So this is what he's focused on in a game. This character putting on a jacket. Wow. Stunning and brave. So cool. That is definitely riveting content that video gamers want. And here's what Grum says about this, which is so true. This is what's wrong with AAA devs today. They are patting each other on the back for mind-numbing detail on graphically putting a jacket on. Then they turn around and warn you not to have unrealistic expectations for gameplay, like BG3. No wonder the game costs are exploding, chasing infinite, mindless, unimportant details and missing the point of games to entertain with gameplay. They don't understand why you didn't buy the game with the ugly, unlikable, stunning, and brave main character with boilerplate, buggy gameplay when it was filled with hard-to-do moments in graphics. But it was so much work to do. People don't understand how hard devs is. People need to buy it or jobs will be lost. Just because you put a lot of work into something doesn't mean you actually gave gamers that you wanted to play or focused on the right thing, and no gamer owes you a purchase or job protection. It has to be earned. This is exactly what's happening here. You can see that this is...
Well, no, they did not announce the release date for this game, right? If I remember correctly, right? I'm pretty sure they did not they released it. The announcement for this thing, right? Question mark? I'd be curious if this game comes out next year, because, you know, if it does... Well, we all know for a fact we're going to be hearing some layoffs, you know, pretty soon as well. So there might be some more layoffs off Naughty Dog. Well, just more layoffs than the whole entire, you know, gaming industry in general. So
really focused on trying to make this like quote realistic scene to make it feel like you're watching a movie or something rather than actually playing a game. And that is what they're focused on. That is what the graphics are focused on. They want it to be movies. And of course they can't even like make the movies this woke because the Hollywood actually has to make money with things sometimes.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's crazy about it, you know. It's like these people, like I've noticed that like some of the big flops, right? They go for these like realistic graphics, and then like, you know, and then they find out like how come we didn't make money, you know? It's like, well, number one, you're going for these realistic graphics. That's number one, of course. You know, of course that'd be super expensive to get that done. That's where basically like most of the chunk of the money is going off to. It's just literally in the graphics department, and like mostly like the characters that they've done as for main protagonists has just not been great, you know. So it's just kind of like one of the best examples for them to go for realistic graphics with a female protagonist was what's the name of that one? Forspoken. You know, female protagonist, realistic graphics, crazy particle effects and stuff like that. But overall, the game was just not good, and that's it. You know, it's gonna be the same thing for this game as well. Graphics are gonna be amazing, but you know, the fucking gameplay itself is just not gonna be that great, or the story, or the character. You know, it's gonna be an unlikable character.
And so they try to do it through these game systems, and they don't focus on anything with gameplay. You can see just like in the games of the year, Black Myth Wukong and Astrobot, right? That those were fun gameplay. Space Marine 2, even though it didn't do anything like fancy, it just had fun gameplay. That's why it succeeded. And it was pretty simple. And those are not like the top graphical games out there. You don't see that in them. They're fine in what they do. But they don't just heavily focus on this stuff. It is not what they're trying to push all the way around. And so that's why these movies are failing. And so you could see it again. Here's another one, just saying the exact same thing. PlayStation coverage. This is the Access Media saying exactly what it is. PS5 news, etc. The character details are freaking insane. Well,
yeah, that's the only reason why. That's why, gaming media and journalists are just not to be taken literal whatsoever. You take them as a grain of salt, to be honest. Literally. Reviewers, journalists, games media people, that's kind of like, yeah.
Insane's one way to put it. I mean, these are character details that are ridiculous, and it is complete insanity. Just look at like the design again. It's like very manly arms, a very manly torso, very manly neck, and then like feminine lips, I guess, and then feminine eyes to like make you go, oh, what gender is this? I don't know. And again, like the redesign is so simple and so well done. Like, honestly, if they just went with the left, people wouldn't be criticizing this game so much, even though it's kind of obnoxious, to have yet another strong female lead situation. I still think people probably would have gone, okay, this is maybe something. Naughty Dog's done some good games with Uncharted and the like.
Personally, I don't really care about the female, if it's a female protagonist or a male protagonist. I don't really care, personally. Like, I generally don't care. Yes, eventually I'll probably make video games of a female character. But the main difference is like, at least she'll be attractive, the gameplay will be interesting. I'm gonna make the story as interesting as much as possible, because I enjoy writing stories at the end of the day. I'm just saying.
Maybe we'll give this a shot. But because they tried to uglify it on purpose, it is something else. And here's exactly what Grum says again, based on something which V said, who's a wonderful streamer as well. Legit question for people who played more Asian games recently, such as Goon Games, Stellar Blade, and other stuff. And he asked a question on here, which is about the looks, right? And Grum says it's not just about looks. It's about the terrible, unappealing, cynical, narcissistic personalities of these characters, which is not just about these characters. These are about the writers. And this is the big thing that we've seen in storytelling. As a science fiction writer, I see this a lot in hack writing and very bad writing. Like, typically a hallmark of an amateur bad writer is somebody writing themselves as the main character, but more badass, right?
Yeah. The only time, well, for me, whenever I write myself in a story, I prefer to be more of a villain-esque type, personally. But that's just me, though.
And so you get somebody who's like trying to write themselves as a hero, and it always ends up pretty cringy for the most part. I mean, it takes a very talented author.
I can never see myself as a hero. I'm more of a villain or a commanding type character.
To not make that cringy. But for 80% of things, it's about them writing themselves as main characters. And when you get somebody who's mentally ill and crazy and doesn't really have anything to offer, like are in these AAA studios at this point writing these games, I'm sure we can research into the writers, and we will at some point, and I'm sure it's a they, them, or something like that. You have somebody who can't write a story by nature, and so they just try to put themselves into it so they can feel seen, and then they convince everybody else around them in the studio that representation matters. This is going to help. This is going to change the social everything, and that's what they're trying to do more than create a story that entertains people, and that's why it doesn't work. Filled with cringe Marvel dialogue, uncaring about anything in the world or anyone else beyond what they can do for me. It's about how these characters lecture us, how they virtue signal, how they reinforce woke talking points while openly expressing contempt and hatred for traditional values of bravery, masculinity, meaningful sacrifice, higher goals, family, traditional male-female relationships, and more. It fills us gamers with instant revulsion, like watching Oogie Boogie skin suits filled with maggots intent on evil, and that's exactly what these people are doing. They are intent on evil. It's in everything. It's from Hollywood. It's in the book industry, the comic industry, the video games industry. That's why we're covering everything here. And this is exactly why this game's going to fail. And I just wanted to highlight it today because it is so simple.
Yeah, it will probably, it's definitely going to fail. And then when it does, there's going to be, well, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually lay off people as well at Naughty Dog for this. Like, honestly, this just looks more appealing compared to this. I'm gonna be honest with you, not really a huge fan of this facial structure, personally. I don't know, you can make a badass female character without having the weird, the weird ideology in it, There's that one girl from this specific one, was it? There was this girl, I remember her. I thought she was cool, Heavenly Blade girl, I thought personally she was a pretty badass, character. I was like, whoa, she's cool, I was like, I wanted to be like her, because she was badass and everything. But like now these days, probably wouldn't do anything like that, Like honestly, really, I never got the chance to play it. Well, actually, I don't really remember much about it, actually. That's probably like the better way to say it, actually. I don't really remember much. That's the problem. It's been such a long time that I hardly even remember. I really remember this game because I've only played it. I played it over at a friend's house. That's why. That's why I think personally I was like, whoa, dude, she's cool, And then that was pretty much about it, so. I don't know, like, you can make badass female characters. You don't have to do this weird, baldness with very manly, masculine appearances and looks. You don't have to do them that way. I just don't understand why these guys always seem to, just make it that way. I just don't understand why. Like even like what's another female protagonist lead? There is Lara Croft, but it's just kind of like the one from let me see. Like this one, Alice. Remember this game? I played the demo of this game, and I thought it was really cool, It was a really cool, it was a really pretty cool, genre of a game, The main protagonist is not over sexualized or anything, I'm talking about main protagonist characters in the game. She's the main protagonist in this game, in this psychological, kind of action adventure horror kind of type of kind of game, and she's not sexualized or in any sort of nature, and she looks great. She's literally wearing like an old, early 1900 dress, and it just looks fine, Solstice. Oh, what was that? Oh yeah, this game. Yeah, I forgot about this game. It's the same thing. Look, she's a badass. She's a badass with a giant sword, She's not bald or anything like that, She actually looks pretty fucking great, She just looks like a badass character, Like, honestly, like even in the screenshots themselves, it's a badass woman holding a big ass fucking sword, That appeals to the male dominance, And that's what the audience are. They're males. They're guys. Video games was meant to be for guys. to take on, like, you know, tell these fantasy stories, you know, these wild, crazy fantasy stories, you know. It's just supposed to appeal for the male audiences. That's just the whole point of it, is because that's the core audience. And if you're trying to alienate that specific audience, you're just gonna lose them, and then they're just gonna move somewhere else, you know. It's very simple as that. I just don't understand. I just never understand fully, like, why are you trying to, like, push them away, you know, when they are the ones that buy your games.
Just not to do this, like minor tweaks to all this stuff, and then focusing on the gameplay would have made this something that gamers wouldn't have had a problem with. It's that easy, you'd think.
Yep.
But these AAA studios just can't, because they are the most crazy narcissists out there, and they're gonna suffer for it. It's gonna be fun to watch. All right, leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like.
That was a good video. That was a very good video. Who is it? John De La Rose? John De La Rose. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I would have preferred if they just made the character on the left, in my personal opinion. Because then you would get less flack on the situation, especially what just recently happened this year, with the whole DEI shit being exposed, and Sweet Baby Inc. being exposed, and everything of what's been happening behind the scenes when it comes to making games in general. And, well, Lord and behold, you have this, you know. Yeah, whatever the hell this is, and, you know, we could have had something like this. But hey, that's just my opinion at the end of the day. Maybe one day when I get my own game studio, you know, and I start hiring some people, we're just gonna be making characters like these, you know. That's about it, you know. Because we're gonna be pleasing the male audiences. And you wanna know something? Females also like hot girls too. I'm just saying, you know? It's not just only dudes that like hot girls. Also girls do as well. So, I don't know, you know? But hey, you know what? That's just me. That's just my opinion. You can take it as however you want. You can take it as a grain of salt, or you can, you know, do what you want with it. But personally, I'm personally not on the side of the rights, and yeah. But anyways, dude, most of the streamers that really like Nikke are female streamers. The only reason why I don't like Nikke is just the gameplay. That's it. I'm just not really a huge fan of the gameplay. If they would have went for like 3D, a little bit more 3D models, in my personal opinion, I think I would have had to find time with them. So, but that's just me though. But anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff, and yeah, you can let me know. Well, you can let me know specifically of what, you know, what you think about the intergalactic trailer. Personally, I'm not gonna play it. For me, I have not played a Naughty Dog game since The Last of Us 1. That was literally the last game I've ever played from them. Also on top of that, I've never even played the Uncharted series too as well. I've never played any of the Uncharted series. And I've only played The Last of Us. I guess I did play like the demos, like the demo disc of Crash Bandicoot. And that's pretty much about it. At least off the top of my head. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Dude, if they would have announced a Jak and Daxter remake or something, you know? Like, if they remade it with, like, HD graphics, with, like, everything being overhauled and everything for a new generation of audiences, I think that would have went so hard, to be honest. And then that would be, like, to tell them, be like, okay, let's produce a new Jak and Daxter game, you know? I think that would have been such a better ending to the Game Awards instead of, well, whatever this is. But yeah, but that's it. That's just my opinion. And peace.